Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. We got another round of 10.2 class changes, a Demon Hunter rework, which is looking pretty surprising. It seems like around every single turn, there's another spec getting a complete rework and overhaul, but there's a lot of changes to cover, so let's get started right away. The first couple of changes oriented around PvP are targeted around the Battleground Blitz. Temple of Kotmogu resource acquisition rate has been increased in the middle areas of the map. Shadow Sight's duration has been increased to 12 seconds, up from 8. Remember, this is the solo queue rated battlegrounds, so that testing, if you're doing it on the PTR, is definitely making changes towards that game mode into the future. For Blood Death Knight, your set bonuses is going to be now triggers from consuming runic power, was previously triggered on consuming bone shield charges. I saw a lot of feedback oriented around this for PvE, that it was literally not going to function, or your 4 set basically made your 2 set not work. So it's good to see this updated. For Frost Death Knight, chance to trigger reduced to 30% from 40, and reduces the cooldown of Empower Rune Weapon by 6 seconds, down from 10. This is a bit of a nerf for Frost DK. Fixed an issue with Chill Streak not decrementing a bounce when it bounced off of the Death Knight, so some bug fixes, overall nerfs here for Frost Death Knight. And now Demon Hunter, this is like the big creme de la creme with what's going on with Demon Hunter. The talent updates will be starting to roll in as they become ready, starting with the Havoc tree changes in this week's build. In some cases, talents may be missing or marked as a work in progress, but there are enough changes to the Havoc tree and individual talents that we'd like to get it in players' hands to begin gathering feedback. Vengeance and class tree changes are coming soon. Spectral Sight cooldown is now 1 minute and 30 seconds, was 1 minute 30 seconds with rank 2 talented, so it's just baseline without having to go for 2 ranks. Fodder to the Flame Demon now revealed by Spectral Sight. I don't understand that, but okay. Fodder to the Flame Demon now takes fatal damage from Eye Beam, Fell Devastation, in addition to Throw Glaive, so more ways to be able to kill off your demon. Fodder to the Flame buff is now granted immediately upon killing the demon, was upon collecting the soul, so you no longer need to pick up the soul. That's going to be like overall throughput increase, but remove some gameplay. Metamorphosis is going down to a baseline 3-minute cooldown from 4. Darkness now has a 15% chance to avoid all damage from an attack. Chance to avoid damage increased by 100% when not in a raid. So it's going to be a 30%, and Fist of the Illidari has been removed. So Metamorphosis duration reduced to 20 seconds, down from 24. Demonic Appetite is now baseline for Havoc and causes souls to generate 20 Fury, down from 30. Fell Eruption is now baseline for Havoc. Glaive Tempest cooldown increased to 25 seconds from 20. Damage increased by 15%. However, damage is reduced beyond 8 targets. Glaive Tempest was the Legion artifact weapon ability to put glaives in the ground. I don't know if it's going to be enough for it to be viable, but we'll have to see. Fell Barrage is being redesigned. It's no longer channeled. Drains 15 Fury per tick and lasts until Fury is depleted. Damage reduced beyond 5 targets. Fell Barrage is one of my favorite abilities, especially in Legion, so I'm definitely going to be checking out this redesign for it. Initiative's effect is now triggered or denied by damage over time effects. Momentum now increases damage by 6% from 8. Lasts 6 seconds, up from 5. And now duration stacks to a max of 30 seconds, was 10. New talent Inertia. When empowered by Unbound Chaos, Fell Rush increases damage by 20%. That's going to be a massive increase of damage. Fell Rush now enforces a global cooldown of 0.5 seconds, was previously 0.25, and Fell Blade now enforces a global cooldown of 0.5 seconds, was 1.5 seconds. So a little bit of extra mobility from Fell Blade, but a little bit less from Fell Rush. This talent is going to be absolutely broken. This is the most broken talent, I think, in the whole build of all the classes today. Deflecting Dance. Blade Dance now deflects incoming attacks, absorbing damage up to 15% of your maximum health. It's basically just a 15% absorb every time. Blade Dash is like 16-second cooldown or 6-second cooldown or something, or maybe even lower than that. They're gonna be unkillable. This can't go live. There's no way. This is gonna be absolutely absurd. Fire Inside. Immolation Aura has a 1 additional charge and a 30% chance to refund a charge when activated. You can have multiple Immolation Auras active at a time. So definitely Immolation Aura builds are looking like they could be strong. Fellfire Heart talent has been removed. Fell Rush damage is just being buffed by 60%. And Unbound Chaos is now a 1-point talent, down from 2, and increases the damage of your Fell Rush by 250%. This is when you emo Aura and then buffs up your Fell Rush, and then that Fell Rush is going to buff your damage by 20% from that other talent above. Critical Chaos is now 1-point talent and has a chance to refund 30% of your critical strike chance was 20 to 40. Dancing with Fate is now a 1-point talent. Blade Dance final slash damage bonus now 25%. So it's lowering your overall top end, but you're only going to have to spend 1 point on these, which means you'll probably be able to get more defensive cooldowns or utility, I would assume. Blind Fury is now a 1-point talent. I-Beam generates 40 Fury per second, was 20 to 40, and has a 10% increased damage and duration down from 20. Serrated Glaives is now a 1-point talent, was 2, and has been adjusted. Enemies hit by Chaos Strike or Throw Glaive, was previously only Throw Glaive, take 15% increased damage from Chaos Strike, and Throw Glaive was Chaos Strike and I-Beam. So it's a lot of overall sustained damage. Growing Inferno is now a 1-point talent down from 2 and increases the damage by 10% per tick, was 5 to 10. That's going to be insane with the Emo Aura stacks. Isolated Prey has been adjusted. No longer causes Fell Rush to grant Fury, now causes Immolation Aura to deal 30% increased damage. You're going to be a monster in Mythic Plus. I don't know about Arena with these AoE changes in Emo Aura focused builds, but definitely going to be a monster, I think, in Mythic Plus. For Vengeance, your 2-step bonus, chance to trigger reduced for each target beyond the first. For Guardian Druid, we're seeing a big change here. I believe for their set bonuses, that's going to cause a lot of damage increase. Although, as I'm reading this now, it doesn't look like it. Dream Thorns now absorbs 25% of the damage you deal while active, was 10%. Dream Thorns duration increased to 45 seconds. I saw a change on a different post that said it was going to be reflecting like 100% of the damage, but I don't see it on this one, so maybe that was an incorrect data mine. For Resto Druid, Cenarius Guidance no longer spawns an additional Grove Guardian at the beginning of Incarnation Tree of Life. I'm not surprised. Cenarius' Guidance now reduces the cooldown of Incarnation Tree of Life by 5 seconds when a Grove Guardian fades, was 4, and Grove Guardians are now present on the totem bar. I don't know what that's going to really mean. If that means you can move them around or not, or cancel them yourself, or what's going on with that. Maybe so they don't aggro trash pulls, so you can get rid of them, is what I would guess. But the rest of it is going to be crazy. So many trees. Augmentation Evoker. Now, this spec, honestly, to me, has been problematic. So what's going on with it? Aspects of the favors increase in maximum health by 2 to 4, down from 3 to 6. Molten Blood Absorption reduced by 50%. This remains unchanged in PvP. Ebon Might grants 8% of the Evoker's primary set, down from 10. The above changes will be applied to the PTR via hotfix. Still going to be a mandatory spec in Raid, and I would also assume in Mythic Plus, I think, with these changes. For Preservation, Spirit Bloom Healing has been reverted. It was increased by 25%, so it's no longer increased. Rewind recovers 33% of the damage taken in the last 5 seconds, was 40%, so a nerf to Rewind. For Arcane, you're getting quality of life changes to your set bonus. This is going to be easier to get clear casting stacks because there's less of them and your missiles are going to be doing more damage. So just quality of life improvements for Arcane. For Fire, just straight up damage buffs, more crit damage and more crit damage modifiers in your set bonuses. For Monk, Jade's Serpent Statue, Soothing Mist increased by 40%. That's a huge buff to your overall healing. Your 2-set bonus is going to store 20% of all healing up from 15, so more throughput. Healing Elixirs has been redesigned as a passive effect. You consume a healing elixir when you drop below 35% and are not in a loss of control effect. Instantly healing for 15% of your maximum health. You generate 1 healing elixir every 30 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. That's a big change. Not being able to actively use it and also not having it proc while in a stun. Unison's range increased to 40 yards from 15. I'll be honest, I don't know what Unison's range is. Somebody who's a Mistweaver Monk can let us know what that is. If it's a big deal, please do in the comments down below, but I don't know if it doesn't sound like a big deal to me, at least. For Windwalker Monk, your set bonuses are just getting buffed. Blackout Kick's going to be 150% increased damage. Your 4-set bonus is going to reduce your cooldowns of major abilities by 2 seconds, up from 1. So big buffs and some bug fixes towards you on the Windwalker. So just buffs overall. For Paladin, all healing reduced by 5%, up from 3. Hand of Divinity now increases the healing of Holy Light by 40%, down from 80. So big nerfs to Holy Paladin. Saved by the Light Absorb has been increased though by 50%. That's a big buff in PvP. Blessed Focus now increases the healing of Glimmer of Light by 40%, up from 25. Merciful Aura healing is now increased by 20, down from 50, while Aura Mastery is active. Merciful Aura healing is just baseline increased by 15%. I don't know if you'll still play this in PvP. Touch of the Light healing increased by 500%, was 700%. Word of Glory just getting 10% healing buff. Barrier of Faith now creates an Absorb Shield for 25%, down from 50. And Aura Mastery now increases the effectiveness of Devotion Aura by 12, down from 15. For Prop Paladins, your set bonus is just getting stronger, just more damage reduction. For Retribution Paladin, it seems like there's going to be some big nerfs to you guys. Expurgation's now doing 30% increased damage, down from 50. Wrathful Sanction, though, is going to deal 50% of main holy damage up to 4 nearby enemies, up from 20. And your 4-set bonus, Echoes of Wrath, now causes your next Templar's Verdict and Divine Storm to deal damage a second time at 25%, down from 50. So some big nerfs to the Paladin set bonuses that we looked at last time. For Priest, Powered Life is going to cost 2.5% of your base mana. Its cooldown has decreased to 15 seconds from 30, but its cooldown is no longer decreased when cast on targets by 35%. Powered Life now is only usable on targets below 35% 25%. Empowered Life's healing has been increased by 500% and no longer increases healing on targets below 35%, which might even it out, honestly. But it's just, now it's basically fail safe. You're not going to end up screwing up this mechanic, which honestly, I don't know if I like. If they're removing gameplay with this regard. For Disc Priest, Shadow Covenant is what they're looking at. Ultimate Penitence now takes into account your primary target, will prioritize healing bolts if an ally is selected or damaging bolts if an enemy is selected. So nice little AI update for this ability. The Fly Up in the Air Penance. Damage and healing increased by 25% and an initial tick has been added to the start of the channel. Embrace Shadow has been removed. Twilight Corruption remains in its location and continues to increase Shadow Covenant's effectiveness by additional 10%. Shadow Covenant duration now matches the duration of Mindbender at 12, up from 7. That's a pretty big change. Shadow Covenant now grants 10% shadow damage and healing increase with Mindbender, or 25% with Shadow Fiend, was 25% with either one. Mindbender was looking more, maybe a little bit too OP. Shadow Covenant's visuals have improved. Penance damage and healing increased by 15%. Mindbender and Void Summoner have swapped locations. Void Summoner reduces the cooldown of Shadow Fiend by 4 seconds, or Mindbender by 2 seconds. Fix an issue causing Mindbender to sometimes return to your side immediately upon being summoned. Expiation increases Mind Blast and Shadow Word Death damage by 15 to 30, so buffs for Disc Priest overall, it seems like. Wheel and Woe increases Smite's damage by 20% per stack, up from 12, and Power Word Shield by 10 per stack, up from 5. Big buffs for Disc Priest. Holy Priest, Prayer of Mending healing getting nerfed by 5%. Prismatic Echoes now increases the healing of Echo of Light by 4 to 8, down from 6 to 12. Nerf so far for you guys. Echo healing decreased by 15%. Divine Images Dazzling Light decreased by 35%. Oh my god. Blessed Light decreased by 20%. Trail of Lights replicates heal or flash heal at 13 to 20. Big nerfs for Holy Priest. Pontifex increases the healing done by Holy Words by 20%, stacking 2 times, was 10. And Echo of Light heals every 2 seconds in the last 4 seconds, was heals every 3 seconds in the last 6 seconds. For Rogue, Airborne Irritant has moved to the class tree, was outlaw previously and has been adjusted. Blind has a 50% reduced cooldown, but it's a 40% reduced duration. It's going to become like a 3-second, blind in cap. I don't think that will ever be taken, at least in PvP, and applies to all enemies near the target. Mark for Death has been removed. I feel like that's a huge nerf. I mean, that was a staple ability for rogues. I was not expecting Mark for Death to be removed. That is a big deal. For Assassination, buffs to your AoE damage and your set bonus. A Caustic Spatter damage increased by 35%. Dashing Scoundrel is now 1 talent point. Indiscriminate Carnage is now 10 seconds, was 3 seconds. Scent of Blood now increases agility by 2 to 4 per target ruptured, was 1 to 3, to a max of 20, was 24. So some quality of life changes, AoE buffs to Assassination. One thing I'd really like to see for Outlaw Rogue is that remove Ambush as a spell. Make Sinister Strike transform into Ambush when you're in Stealth or with Shadow Dance. That way we're removing a keybind, and then the rotation becomes way more smooth. I've been playing a lot of Outlaw, and I feel like that's one quality of life I'd really like to see for Outlaw, is to just remove Ambush and make Sinister Strike transform into it when you're in Stealth, similar to how Demon Hunter abilities transform when they're in Metamorphosis. For Outlaw, though, Grand Melee, Roll the Bones buff has been adjusted. Now damage increases damage by 5%, and Blade Flurry deals 10% additional damage to nearby targets. Crackshot damage with Dispatch reduced to 75% from 100, and Dread Blades has been removed. I think this is a good move. I think there's too many on-use abilities, honestly, for most of the rogues. I wasn't thinking about Mark for Death, but for Outlaw, definitely. It was getting really stacked. There was too much, so I'm honestly not surprised to see some go. Subtlety, Stiletto, Staccato, that's a fun word, and Stunning Secret have been removed. Gorma's Bite cooldown reduced to 45 from 1 minute, and Secret Technique has got a 12% buff, so rogue buffs. For Elemental Shaman, your set bonus is basically completely different now. When consuming Primordial Wave and for 10 seconds afterward, Lava Burst burns your target for 25% additional damage. You get an extra dot, and 10 seconds. And for 10 seconds, each cast of Chain Lightning causes your next Lava Burst to hit up to 3 additional targets affected by your Flame Shock, which is probably going to be really fun in Mythic Plus, but it's going to be really tough to use in Arena. Probably really fun in BGs, though, and with the Solo Cube BGs coming in, these set bonuses could be really fire, but Arena might be tough to use that. For Restoration Shaman, just nerfs to your set bonuses, I think, here, but Ancestral Awakening heals for 10 to 20, down from 15 to 30. Ancestral Awakening now prefers to heal injured players instead of always healing the lowest health player. Emergency set bonus just means your Riptide's healing 5% less. Your 4-piece, create a new Riptide, reduced to 5, was 10, so just nerfs to Resto Shaman. For Warlock, Soul Rot is going to grant Umbra Fire Kindling, which increases the damage of your next Malefic Rapture by 50%, or your next Seed of Corruption. PvP, this probably doesn't matter. Additionally, Umbra Fire Kindling causes Malefic Rapture to extend the duration of your damage over time effects, and Haunt. Now, I haven't seen any Soul Rot Haunt builds, so having a talent that forces you to take Soul Rot and then empowers a talent that you're never going to take with Soul Rot, at least in PvP, maybe I'm wrong about Mythic Plus, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. For Warlock here, Demonology, all Nether Portal damage increased by 30%. Gul'dan's Ambition has been redesigned. When Nether Portal ends, you summon a Pit Lord that blasts your target for fire damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. He's not going to be auto-attacking. Demonic Tyrant's Demon Fire damage buffed by 30%. Reign of Tyranny has been redesigned. Summon Demonic Tyrant empowers 5 additional Wild Imps and deals 10% additional damage for each demon he empowers. Fixing an issue where your permanently summoned Felguard would not benefit from Summon Demonic Tyrant. Demon Bolt damage buff. Big buffs for Demo. Hand of Gul'dan 25%. Wild Imp 25%. Implosion 25%, Shadow Bolt 30%, Call Dreadstalkers 25%, Grimoire Felguard. All your demons are doing more damage. You're getting more demons. Your set bonus is going to be now your this is a talent redesign. Your primary Felguard's Legion Strike deals 100% increased damage to his primary target. Your primary Felguard deals physical damage after auto-attacking the same enemy 3 consecutive times. And your set bonus is redesigned. Demon Bolt now applies a Doom Brand that explodes after 20 seconds, dealing shadow damage to nearby enemies. Hand of Gul'dan will reduce the duration of the active brand. I think it was previously Demon Bolt, and you were summoning way too many of these per soul shard spent, but it is per soul shard. So if you're spending max soul shards, that's a lot of resets on exploding this. Doom Brand's going to do 35% more damage. The chance for Doom Brand to summon a Doom Fiend has been increased, and your 4-set bonus has been redesigned. When Doom Brand explodes, you have a chance to summon a Doom Fiend that casts AoE Demon Bolt volleys. Each Demon Bolt volley deals shadow damage to 4 nearby enemies. So you're getting Demo's getting insane, dude. Demo's a big winner here on this patch update. For Destruction, 15% Rain of Fire damage. Your set bonus has been redesigned. Bolts from Dimensional Rift now deals 25% of damage dealt to nearby enemies. Immolation Periodic Ticks are still going to have a chance to give you Dimensional Rift, and that's the big one. I think they nerfed increased emo damage, but Dimensional Rift proc is what's going to make this insane for Destro and PvP. Set bonus has been redesigned. Your 4-piece Dimensional Rift can now summon a powerful Flame Rift, blasting 20 searing bolts that deal fire damage and an additional fire damage over 10 seconds. So a dot added to this. For Warriors, Rallying Cry is now only going to increase maximum health by 10% down from 15, and Inspiring Presence has been removed. For Arms, Slam is getting a 25% damage increase. Improved Slam's critical strike damage increase reduced to 10 down from 30 though. So there's a baseline Slam buff. I mean, I don't know if Slam's going to compete with the Ren build. With the set bonuses coming in for Ren, I'm kind of doubting it there. For Prot Warrior, just nerfs to your set bonuses. It was way too strong, so kind of expected. Big rework for Demon Hunter. Huge buffs for Demonology. Couple nerfs to some specs. Big wins for Discipline Priest. Some Keybind Bloat removed for Rogue here. Hopefully they can look into it even more. Like I said, I think my suggestion here, Sinister Strike turns into Ambush and Stealth would be a great way for smoothing out the rotation, because you're always going to want to ambush if you can, whether you have a proc from your pistol shot or you're in Shadowdance. You would always want to ambush instead of Sinister Strike. It makes sense for those abilities to just be fused together and alternate depending on your stance of stealth. But other than that, great to see them continually updating the game once again. And if you want to make sure you're never missing out on these updates, smash that subscribe button, or maybe you've checked out from a while. These are great videos to keep in touch with, just so you can see if the game's worth your time in the future. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.